Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're going to do the hero spotlight for Dagan, the healer of the Ork faction. He should be coming out within the next patch, I believe. We'll go over his stats, his abilities, show you what his visual effects are and how you can obtain this hero. So without waiting any longer, let's jump into it and showcase the Ork Healer. Dagan comes in with a healthy 3.3 million hit points. His speed sits at 233. His armor is at 31k. Magic damage resistance 39k. Basic damage is 271k. His critical hit chance is 38. Critical damage 492,000 as well. Moving into his more specific stats, I'm just going to scroll through it. You can pause this wherever you want and have a look if there's anything that piques your interest. If not, so be it. That's good as well. So there you go. There are his stats. We'll jump into the arena now, look at his abilities and what he is capable of. Moving into the arena, we have Dagan's basic attack, Axe Strike. Pretty sure there's already an ability in the game called Axe Strike, but it triggers the healer class mark. Damages one target, has a 100% chance to reduce the damage output of the target and another 2 random targets by 35% for 2 turns. So pretty decent basic attack. I think in terms of lowering the damage of 3 targets by 35%, you're not doing too horrible. So we'll go ahead and look at the animation there on the old Worm Priest, because who doesn't like smacking the Worm Priest around? We'll go ahead. Okay, pretty straightforward. I've seen better, but I've seen worse as well. So there you go. Pretty standard basic attack. Going over his first special, we have Cleansing Waters, removes all dot effects from all allies, removes all debuffs from the allied orc with the lowest HP, casts 4 buffs on the allied orc with the lowest HP, including self, each of which restores 15% of max HP at the start of the turn. Other allies receive half that amount, hides the ally with the lowest HP from attacks for 2 turns. I'm going to go ahead and use the ability so you can see it in action. Okay, pretty cool. Has a bit of an Udia from League of Legends vibe, but cool nonetheless. Now, a few things to note about this ability. Number one, it is a pretty powerful healing ability. The hot it applies on the ally and himself, however, ticks the strongest on the first initial tick. Each buff the ally has and yourself heals for 15%. So the first heal is going to be 60% of your max HP. Every turn after that, one buff is removed and the heal is reduced by 15%. So the heal effectiveness is reduced per turn. The issue with this is the most benefit you're going to get from this ability is after the 4th turn. Removing buffs in this game is not a difficult task. So it can be countered, it can be removed. Roynar, perfect example, could remove this buff from the 2 characters and you'll get very minimal healing out of it. The other issue I have with this ability is, and you don't know this as of yet, but I'm allowed to talk about it because I'm going to showcase the hero over the weekend, is the Ork Tank. His ability allows him to team-wide taunt, so he can taunt the entire enemy team to attack him. Now, the issue with this is, obviously, he's going to be the target of damage. Once the damage is applied to him and you use his healing ability, it's going to hide him as well. From what I've tested, hiding him is going to deem the taunt ineffective. The enemy will be able to attack past your tank and any character they want. So it's going to be a bit counterproductive using this on the tank, because your aim with him is to taunt and allow your orcs to do their thing. Unfortunately, the taunt is going to be effective. I don't know if it's a sequence thing. I tested it where I had his taunt up first and then hit him, and then the enemy could attack past. I don't know if healing him and then taunting him will be any different. I haven't tested it that way. As of right now, though, he loses a lot of versatility as his taunt becomes almost null and void with the heal being placed on him. Going over his second special, we have Deal with the Abyss. Resurrects an orc ally with 50% of their max HP and casts the black spot debuff on them for 4 turns. When the debuff ends, the hero dies and cannot be resurrected. reduces incoming damage for the resurrected Ork by 50% for 4 turns, and casts 5 buffs, which increases armor by 25% per such buff. Increases chance for all allies to dodge magic attacks by 60% for 4 turns. A resurrected Ork, or if all Orks are alive or cannot be resurrected, the ally with the lowest HP is guaranteed to do critical damage for 4 turns. Now, this is really interesting. It acts kind of like a Zart Resurrect, except with Zart's Resurrect, the ally will die within 2 turns. However, they can still be resurrected. This applies a debuff that will force the ally to die after 4 turns and then cannot be resurrected. However, this character is a substantial improvement to Zart, as this character's first ability, if you remember, can remove a debuff. So you use this ability first, and I have tested it, and it works this way. You use this ability first to resurrect the dead hero, and then cast his first special ability on that hero. Assuming that hero still has the lowest HP on the team, it will remove the debuff, allowing him to survive indefinitely. He will not perish. Now, the only thing I haven't tested is if that hero dies, if that negation to resurrect is still valid. I do believe you would be able to resurrect him again, as the debuff isn't applied to the hero anymore. So this guy has a downfall to him, is the hero cannot be resurrected again. However, you just remove the buff with himself and you're good to go, or debuff with himself and you're good to go. Not only does this guy resurrect an allied Ork, he also turns them into a bit of a brick wall as well. He gives them immense defensive capabilities and gives them pretty solid attack damage as well, because he gives them guaranteed critical damage for 4 turns. So yeah, he has a downfall, which again is countered by himself. He just fixes that. So pretty unique heal. Essentially it's essentially a better Zart, except he only can resurrect 1 instead of, I think Zart can resurrect 2, or is there a chance to resurrect 2? Doesn't matter who uses Zart. This guy's the new Zart. So yeah, very unique resurrect ability. Moving on to his passive, we have Under Protection. Increases own chance to dodge enemies affected by the Scorching Terror debuff by 50%. After Dagan's death, allied Orcs' HP cannot go below 1 until 8 hits have been made. The same goes for other allies for half that amount of the hits. The effect is removed in any case after 3 turns. So, if he perishes in battle, if he dies, he's going to give a Azariel invincibility or invulnerability to all allied Orcs for 3 turns. You have to hit them 8 times to remove it, and then they can die. Not to mention, he increases his own chance to dodge enemies affected by Scorching Terror, which is the debuff applied by Arcane, which is a translation error. The translation in her ability says that it decreases the enemy's accuracy to 25%. It's meant to say, and I have asked Playcod about this, it only decreases the enemy accuracy by 25%, not to 25%. Even though it says to 25%, it's just a translation thing. They said they're going to fix it. If they have, I'm not sure. But yeah, so on top of that, hitting this guy, if you have that debuff on you, is going to be messy stuff. You're going to take a lot of damage trying to kill him. So I guess the idea would be to lock down Arcane and then try and get rid of this guy ASAP, because keeping him on the field, he's just going to resurrect someone. He's going to make them a steel wall, brick wall. He's going to be difficult to kill. So try and get rid of him ASAP, I'm guessing. I haven't been able to test this team properly against meta teams, but that would be the strategy I go with off the top of my head. So don't allow Arcane to get that debuff on you. If you do use a team that can remove debuffs, you got Dragonkin, you got Beastman, and you have the Archons. Well, those are the 3 teams that come to mind when trying to take on the Orcs. Overall, he is, I think, a solid character. I think the Orcs don't seem like a ridiculously overpowered faction. However, I think they synergize pretty well. Again, you'll see a bit more when we go over the Orc tank, But now that they're starting to get their whole faction together, I think we're going to see some pretty interesting things. They're missing the 5th character. I think you would probably put a brawler on the team because the Ork tank does mix well with brawlers. I can't remember off the top of my head what Arcane's leadership ability is, but then again, you just mix a character that mixes well with her leadership ability if possible, and I think you got a pretty solid team, and I think you're going to be able to do some damage. Now, that is the character in all his glory. We'll go over how you can obtain this character now. So how do you obtain Dagan? Dagan will be coming into the game through an event. This event is not like the Arcane event. It is an event that comes around every 42 days, like the Will-O-Wisp event, the Rock event, the Siegfried event. You will require the Dragonkin to complete this event. To complete the last stage, you're going to need 5 Dragonkin at equipment level 5, 5 gold stars. It's not mentioned here, but most likely level 50 as well. So the requirements are quite easy to obtain. The difficult part is the Dragonkin, getting the Dragonkin. But as it states here, if you do not complete the event the first time, it's going to come around again. It's not a one-time event. By completing the event, you are going to be able to unlock Dagan at star level 5, which I think is pretty decent. We haven't had an event like this in so long. I think it's a breath of fresh air. These events, I think, are way better than any other events in the game just because it's fair for everyone. They're constantly coming out. They're constantly there. And it just takes a little bit of time to get to the point where you can complete them. Now, in the past, these events that have come out, once you've completed the event, the hero becomes available to farm within the markets, Arena, TOH. I don't know how it's going to be for this hero. I hope it's the same. He's thrown into a store, which you can then purchase his shards with currency. I don't know. I really don't know. Play could have just been all over the shop lately. We'll have to wait and see. Other than that, that is Dagan, that his stats, his skill set, how you could potentially use him / counter him, and how you're going to obtain this hero. I hope that's all the information you want to know. If I've missed anything, feel free to leave a comment. I'll try and answer it to the best I can. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. And wherever you are in the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.